Happy Sunday to everybody. It's Diane in Texas, and it's almost 12 o'clock, so barely still in Sunday, but happy Sunday to everybody. And I just wanted to come back on. It's been an extremely long time since I have been on, and I've been somewhat leaving comments that I plan to come back in the near future and upload a video, so that's what I'm doing. It's amazing how out of, what's the word? You know, after you've done, I think I did at least 5 or more, maybe 6 or 7, and you get kind of into a role for doing the videos. And since my last video, I think I had this set up somewhat a little bit different, but the lighting was really terrible, and wanted to improve that. And don't have a mic yet, but hopefully, I don't think I have it totally set up right. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I bought some lightings with the white umbrellas to hopefully get a little bit better quality of a video. And just jump on here. If you like bloopers, this is probably the channel for you. I don't know how to edit, so it's kind of coming to you live. As I said, it's been quite a while since I've been uploaded any videos, or frankly even doing any cross stitching. And what I'm going to cover today, it'll probably be a fairly brief video due to the point that I need to go to bed, the work week's starting. But I definitely, do you ever get where you're just going to do it? You know, you've been thinking about it, it's still not perfect, my hair's not perfect, it's too long, it needs to be cut. Makeup's not great, lighting, check, all not really great, but, what the heck, just do it. And that's what I'm doing, and I will probably touch on some things and not go into full details, but if, you're interested, I can cover them further in future videos. Let me first explain what's been going on with me. I think the last video I probably did was in September of last year, and I am pretty certain that I had shared with everyone that my dad had been ill, and sadly he passed away at the end of September, and that totally rocked my world, and not in a good way. So that, amongst other things going on in my life, I just kind of lost the urge to stitch. I really was doing nothing creative. I wasn't journaling, really. I wasn't painting. I wasn't cross-stitching. And in fact, it was so bad that I really did not keep up with the Flosstube videos that I enjoyed. Have you ever been in that state where you're just kind of like numb? And then as time goes by, other things happen, and it just doesn't seem to let up. So that's really what's happened. My dad passed. That happened in the end of September. In October, trying to give you a quick timeline. I think I had talked about in one of my early videos about having issues with my thyroid, and being on the medication, it had improved somewhat, but really not great. I actually ran across a YouTube video filming of someone with the same issues, and she had been with the New York Ballet and had extreme issues with thyroid problems, and had been put on the correct medication. Her blood work looked fine, but it just wasn't working. Her hair was falling out, she had no energy, all the classic signs. And I watched it, and she said that, she had been adopted, so she didn't really know the medical history, so she started researching on her own, and she sent off to the 24andMe, I think, 23andMe, 24, DNA, and then got those results, and then sent them on to some further testing. What she found out is there's some mutation on some gene, and that nobody would have ever known of. And although she was getting the thyroid medication to help with the low thyroid, it wasn't being absorbed. come to find out, it's an easy fix. It's actually over-the-counter supplement. It's activated, I think, B12 and folic acid, and it's worked wonders, is all I can say. My thought was, sure, I can send it off. I can do all this vetting of whether, I've got that issue, but heck, what's $24? Order it on Amazon and have it in a day or two. So I started taking that right before my high school reunion, and unfortunately, it took off a little bit of weight in the first week or so, but not the results I was hoping for. So anyway, continued on it. I do go to the doctor pretty regularly because of arthritis medication and, blood work that needs to be done. So that's generally how I've been tracking my weight since I'm not going to Weight Watchers. Really got tired of doing the points. I could do it on the program and had lost a lot of weight, but just the maintenance, although I know it works, it just wasn't really how I wanted to live. But I didn't want to live, at a higher weight than what my normal body size is. So I started taking the supplement, and lo and behold, since October, end of October, I've lost 20 pounds, and it has taken away the crazy cravings I was having for ice cream and chocolate, and I actually can feel when I'm getting full and stop eating, and don't feel like I'm really, restricting myself. I just eat till I'm full and I stop. So I do work virtually, and I went into the office for some meetings, and people who hadn't seen me in quite a while were like, wow, what's happened? So that's what I've been doing, along with have made some friendships, new ones, and reunited with some friends from 20 years ago, and have gotten into cycling. I've gone 3 or 4 times, and cycle, we make it fun. We cycle on a bike path up to Denton, and then go get something to eat, and a beer if it's appropriate at the time is good and the weather's not too hot, and then cycle back. So all in all, I think it's like almost 15 miles. So trying to get a little bit more active, but actually it's really just normalizing my body into the size that I really have been in the past. So really thrilled about that. The other thing I failed to mention is I believe this is also helpful for women who are trying to get pregnant and have miscarriages, or it also helps, I believe, with deformities. So all in all, I'm not a medical professional. I'm not giving you any advice, but it's folic acid and it's B12. So all in all, I don't think, at least I made the decision, it's not going to hurt me. I would find those things in a vitamin. So not everybody's going to have the same issues that I did, but I don't know if I look any thinner, but happily losing weight and hope to lose a little bit more, 15, maybe even 20 more pounds I would be happy about that. But okay, let's see what else I haven't told you about. Oh, I think last time I left you, I was wanting to lose weight for my 40th reunion. I wish it was 20th, my 40th reunion. And as I said, I got some pound, loss within a couple of days of starting the folic acid and B12, but not the size I would have loved to be. But heck, you go back, it's been 40 years. Incredibly, the people, the females that I were in my class just look fabulous. And, you just have to roll with what you've got. And I went, I had a great time. Had a great time with some old friends. We got a limo, so we didn't have to worry about driving, and just had a really good time. What was not so good about the reunion was 3 days later, it was like I was on my deathbed. It was, I don't know how to describe it. I worked for several days after being deathly ill. I felt like I was on my deathbed, and I'm not really exaggerating. There was pains in my head that the only way I can describe it is like a vice or wearing a crown of thorns or something like that, and just, I've never been that sick. And 10 days later, 2 doctor visits later, like I said, it was scary there for a while. You know, when you're single and living on your own, you know, I could barely do anything. I certainly couldn't get out and go to the store to get even Kleenexes, or I wasn't hungry. And, you know, what was happening, unfortunately, from my friends on Facebook, at least probably 15 people from the reunion that came down with the exact same condition, flu. It was the flu. I did go to the doctor. Like clockwork. Everybody went through the same horrific time trying to get shake it. What would happen is you got the medication for the flu, and but then ended up with secondary issues. So that's why I ended up going to the doctor, and at the front end, which I was really, really sick, trying to work through all that. It was really, to be honest, I don't know how I did it, but you know, you do what you have to do. I don't know what I would have done without a friend of mine. I told you that I had reconnected with a friend from, geez, 18 years ago, and she was so kind to come by, bring me whatever I needed. She would call. I didn't want her to be exposed, you know, to me. She would leave it, you know, on my doorstep or on my door handle, call me and say it's there, you know, what do you need me to do? Do you need to go to the doctor? You know, frankly, if somebody was single and nobody was checking on them, it was the worst flu ever. And in fact, you know, I think when I was describing it, because it was at the first end, you know, the start of the flu season, I think people thought I was really exaggerating. I wasn't. It was horrific. And, you know, it really hit bad here in Texas. We had deaths from it. So I will always be getting the flu shot from now on, and highly recommend that for those who are in the, you know, that can take that safely. But unfortunately, I didn't take it. I did end up going to the pharmacy, and I'm thinking I had the flu. I'm all good. I can't get it again. And they said, no, you really need the flu shot because it has like 5 strains. Yes, you may have some immunity to the strain you were exposed to and had, but you're, you know, still vulnerable to these others. So in the future, I'm going to pay whatever I have to for a flu shot, and hopefully cross my fingers and stay well, because it is horrid. I wrote down notes because clearly I've got a lot to go over, and it's been so long trying to catch up. Okay, so that's going on. Go through the holidays, still, you know, dealing with my dad's death, and there's been some concerns through settling his estate, and some really sad, you know, it doesn't always bring out the best in people, and dealing with, you know, my dogs are under here, and they're knocking down my drink. They're not used to me doing this either. But anyway, so I'm trying to think of where I was. Okay, let's just go into the first of the year. Going pretty good. In February, I was out. I had gone out with a friend to eat or a movie or something, came home, went to bed, and then I don't know why, I just woke up out of a dead sleep and went to the front end of my apartment, and Bertie, my buff pug, was like not acting like herself. She was hiding under my desk that I use for work. I brought her in. She just was not functioning. Luckily, I had a thermometer. She was hypothermic. Her her temperature was like way below what it should have been. Of course, I'm like pulling it up on the web. What's the normal temperature for a dog? Trying to get her warmed up. It took like 4 hours, and that was just the beginning of hellacious days. Took her in. They ended up thinking we did ultrasound, we did blood tests. The blood tests were first, and her liver came back, and it was just horrendous. It was like a crisis with her liver. And then she did have kind of like this lump, and I mentioned it to the vet, and you know, older dogs get little lumps and bumps, and they really hadn't thought much of it, but on ultrasound, it looked like a tumor of some sort. Now, whether it was benign, whether it was not benign, they thought it was the type of tumor that is in the blood vessels and that can easily, you know, burst. And frankly, you know, the diagnosis was you can do surgery, I think $5,000 later, and she may get an extra month out of it. And certainly didn't want to do that, you know, the last days, you know, feeling so terrible. Ended up having the ultrasound and, you know, ended up with that very expensive, you know, trying to find out what it was going on. But due to knowing that her liver was bad, they gave me 2 months. So it's like this ticking clock that's, you know, always out there, and I'm just so worried that I'm going to lose her. But I thought, okay, what can I control? Bertie hears me talking about her, and she's under here giving me some love. Anyway, looked on the internet for dogs, what can you help with detoxing the liver, and found 2 natural supplements again that I was able to get off of Amazon. And one was, I think, dandelion milkweed, which are drops, and she actually likes them. They're somewhat sweet. And the other was Sammy, but it was in the state that it had already been processed, so it was easily absorbed and used by the liver. So here we are, knock on wood. I think it's been 4 months, and every day that I have with her, I am blessed. Of course, I'm praying for a miracle. She is the sweetest, happiest dog in the world, and it would just break my heart to lose her. So she's looking at me right now. Oh, she's wagging her tail. Yes, you are. Okay. Every time she hears her name, she's going to respond. But anyway, so holding tight with Bertie, continuing to give her those supplements, and try not to pick her up by her tummy. In fact, if it is some type of tumor that's in the blood vessels, I certainly don't want it to rupture. So trying to take a lot of care and monitor her a lot closer than, you know, I would have been doing normally. Okay, now let's get to stitching. Hooray! Like I said, I don't know, one day I just woke up and I felt like sewing again, and you know, started watching some of my favorite YouTubes. I think just Keep Stitching with Pam and Steph. They are hilarious. I love them. I love watching them. I could just watch them even if I wasn't a stitcher and didn't even know what they were talking about. They are just entertaining and lovely and very personable. And so I started out there, and you know, I think like I told you before, when I go for something, I go full throttle. It was like, okay, I'm in. I'm back in with this. And it was like, what do I start to work on? Because I want everything. And, you know, you see all the different wonderful projects. You want the patterns. I'm the kind of person that's going to go out and buy all the floss for that project. And it's almost overwhelming. So my approach this time is to maybe whittle it down. What do I really want to spend my time on with enjoyment, and go from there. So there's some projects I've decided that maybe I would do on a rotation. Haven't made very much progress. There's one I've started, and again, it's kind of like this video. It was like, okay, just jump in, do it again. And you know, my eyesight's not the best. I have one of those kind of like things that you would see in mining with a, you know, like a light and magnifying glasses. You know, that's somewhat helpful, but I did see on a new YouTuber to me for Flosstube, and she mentioned how she was able to stitch on, I think, 40 count with a stitching light, or a light that had magnification with light around it. She gave the name of it. It's actually Bright Tech. Bright like sunshine, bright, and then tech like a technology company. And of course, I went to my first go-to is Amazon, and found one that I thought I could put by my bedside. And I already had one that I could hook to a desk that I've had for years that I use for quilting. So it came within a day or so. I'm very pleased with it. My daughters had actually given me a gift card for my birthday, and I wanted, you know, I thought, oh, I can buy, you know, refills for Bertie's meds, but no, you know, when you get a gift like that from someone that's really, you know, special in your life, you want to buy something or spend that money towards something you're going to look at and think, gee, you know, this is for my daughters. So I was waiting for whatever was going to be that thing that it would really make a special purchase, and I thought, gee, I am going to use that towards that light, and I'm very glad I did. And every time I sit down to stitch, I will certainly think of them. And they've also, I think it was at Christmas, gave me the Ginger stork, kind of gold-plated, antique-looking, just little snipping scissors, probably. I don't know what the official embroidery scissors, perhaps, but my grandmother always had the stork-shaped little smaller pair of Gingers, and I thought, that is what I want. So I have both those things from my two beautiful daughters, and thank you. Let's see what else I can tell you about. Okay, I've purchased a couple of new patterns. I will show you real quickly what those are, and the one that I've currently started, and it basically was just to throw me into the mix. And it was actually a free pattern, and it's by Primitive Hair. I'm trying to find the actual paperwork. You could probably search it on the internet and go to her blog, and under free patterns, you'll find it. It's Love Never Fails, and I guess you can make like a pin cushion, and it was one color, you know, pretty straightforward. I thought, okay, that's not very complicated. I can attempt that. So here's my progress on this so far. I'm using DMC, and I think I coffee dyed this fabric. So it got me rolling, and have a couple others that I have in mind to get going. I did have a couple more free patterns from Primitive Hair, and one other I have to share with you is this cute little Valentine. Again, it's a little pin cushion. I guess it could be, you know, you could frame it, you could do anything, but it's, again, one color, and it's just really sweet and primitive looking, obviously given the name. I liked those patterns, which were free, so I went to her Etsy shop and found two that were really cute. One I had seen on Instagram, and it's called Spooky Creatures, or no, Spooky Countdown. And it's like a different little embroidery box for each day of October, and they are so cute. And you know, Halloween's not my favorite holiday, but it just looked fun, and frankly, I'm into fun and definitely not too hard these days. But I also purchased another one, and these were like PDF, so automatically you can get them, and they're reasonable. Little Women, and this is very appropriate. I just saw that on PBS they're starting a series on, I think, Masterpiece Theater of Little Women. So how appropriate is that? Okay, one other pattern that I recently purchased. Again, Instagram, watching YouTube, Flosstube videos. I see something and I just want it, and it's almost too hard to control. But it's by Blackbird Designs, and it's part of the I think the Beatles themed series. There's maybe 6 or 7. I may be exaggerating, but don't hold me to that. It's called the Magical Mystery Tour series, and it's called Strawberry Fields Forever. And it's not real big, but it is just really cute, and there's quite a few finishes on Instagram, and of course I saw this beautiful finish on YouTube, and that's what got me rolling on that. Some others that I'm looking to do, there's one that's from Elizabeth Needlework Designs, and I'm sure I've shown this in the past, but again, I'm pulling it back out. It's fun. It's Antique Celtic Sampler, and I cannot think of the wonderful YouTuber, Flosstuber, that showed this, and she had on the monster here, she had put red lipstick, and red toenails, I believe, and really jazzed it up. So I thought that would be like a fun little ad you could do to the pattern. Also, I pulled out a pattern that I had already purchased from Long Dog Samplers, and it's called Merry-Go-Rounds, and I don't know if you can see it, but I think, I've seen them in multiple colors, but I'm probably going to do like a 2 type of greens, a lighter green, and then maybe a not like a hunter green, but a prettier green. And it's just really fun, and there's animals in these go-rounds, and then there's an alphabet in the mix. Okay, 2 more things. I bought something, a instant download. I'm into Frida Kahlo right now. I'm signed up for a watercolor class from Mindy Lacefield, and always liked Frida. She was very much an individual, and they had this. It's cute. It's not too serious, but it's mini artist gallery, and I don't know how in the world they were able to capture really the essence of several of her paintings, about, 7? And when I looked at it, even though, it's kind of, I wouldn't say cartoon, I don't know what you call those kind of simplified beings, but I knew which paintings they were. So I thought that is one that I was going to invest in. Also, one that I'm sure I've showed you because I bought it last year, it's Abstract Pug, and of course I love my pugs. So pulled that back out and plan to work on that. I think this is going to take quite a long time, but it'll be a labor of love. There's a lot of different colors that will be fun, and I found something on the Etsy shop, and I can't for the life of me think of the seller, but it was from England, and it's kind of an abstract Frida, somewhat in this type of theme, but it's more, I can't describe it. It should be coming any day. I saw the shipping notice, so really excited. It does not come with the DMC numbers, but it does come with the floss. So with the little handy dandy thing that you can buy from DMC that has the color and the number to it, I figure I can match it up pretty closely. If I run out or ever want to do a second canvas of that, most likely I'll run out. But anyway, looking forward to that coming. And I certainly will jump back on and share that with you. Ask me questions in the comments. I'm sorry that this probably isn't the best quality video, but I thought just roll with it. So please forgive me for any bloopers. I know it didn't go so smoothly, but just wanted to get back on the horse, so to speak. So Happy New Year, even though it's in May, from Texas, and hopefully I'll be regularly posting some further Flosstube videos. You know, life. You know, I'm just not going to talk about stitching. I did one more thing. This reminds me, on Mother's Day, my mother passed back in 2015, and you know, that's somewhat of a sad time for me. On the anniversary of her passing, you know, I was thinking about her. I have a picture by my bed of her, and I was praying and you know, just thinking about her when I woke up. And I am not kidding you. I got out of bed and I had this picture she had gotten. You know how they did like the black silhouettes and somebody would cut it out, and there used to be one of my mom and my dad. So I have my mom's, you know, profile silhouette, and I had it up in the bookshelf. And I have, as you can probably figure out, many things in this bookcase. And through the night, somehow, the one thing that was not in that bookcase when I woke up and was right on my path when I got up was my mom's silhouette. And I thought, okay, Mom, thank you. You know, we always talked about when we pass that we would, you know, let each other know that they're thinking of us from heaven. And I just saw that as a, you know, just made me feel really good that, you know, hopefully she is still somewhat around and here's my prayers for her. And I talk to her a lot and certainly miss her. But later that night, my sister called me, who's from Oklahoma, and she said, this just popped up. And she sent me, actually, I think she sent me a picture and a text. And she's a teacher. She goes to bed early. It's like, what in the world is this? And my mom loved giraffes. She collected giraffes. We gave her giraffes. What popped up on her screen just randomly was this photo of a mother giraffe with the baby giraffe. And she just said, you know, I know it's Mom. Well, you will not believe what happened. The very next day, I was looking for something. I don't know, it was something to do with stitching. Just, you know, going into areas I hadn't been in a long time. And my dad and I used to have a dark room in our house growing up. And I was into black and white photography. And I can't remember ever seeing this picture. Bear with me. My allergies are really bad. I'm surprised I made it through this far. I know I took this and printed it because my name's on the back, my maiden name. And again, it's a mother giraffe with a baby giraffe. Anyway, it just was another validation that my mom's here with me, so. Anyway, I'll end with that. My voice is going, but hopefully I will be catching up with your videos on Flosstube, and hopefully if you like, subscribe. You know, like I said, mine are always full of funny things because things just happen, and my life's kind of crazy. It's not strictly stitching, so you may have to just, if you don't want to know about my life updates, you can just kind of fast forward. And please comment or thumbs up, whatever you feel like doing. Glad to be back on, and I'll be coming back at you soon. Bye. Have a great week.